This podcast is about an HBO show with plenty of sex and violence. We say bad words and talk about sex and drugs, so you may not want to listen to this with your kids around, or your parents for that matter. Welcome to Watching True Detectives. I'm Kevin Mullaney.
And I'm Will Meinen.
And this is a recap show for True Detective. We're aware that
season 2.
Yeah, we're aware that it might make more sense to call it Watching True Detective.
Right. Yeah.
Singular, but it's a play on
Watching the Detectives.
Yes.
Yeah. The song.
Yeah. And now I listened to another podcast that used that song at the beginning.
Did they really?
Yeah.
Oh man.
I know.
It's so hard to be original.
It is really hard to be original. We are like 19th in the in the iTunes store. But we're I don't think we're climbing.
No, okay.
We need some reviews to climb.
All right. Fair enough.
Not that we're begging.
Yeah.
Anyway, so this is the review for episode 3 of season 2, which was named. What was it named? Morning.
You got all the notes.
I got all the notes.
Yeah.
I
Watch
can
the
pull it
something. Morning after. The morning bell.
No. Maybe tomorrow.
Oh, yeah. It's like a Bond title.
Maybe it is like a Bond title.
This episode would have been better if Daniel Craig was in it.
You think?
Well, what if they just switched every episode? They switched out somebody, and Daniel Craig now played that character, but just for one episode.
Just one episode. I would like him to play Frank's character or Vince Vaughn's character, Frank.
Yeah,
at least for one.
Right,
Maybe
absolutely.
I would like him to go back
and Dumpy Detective
and reshoot the pilot
right.
with Daniel Craig. It probably would be better. Although he had some good moments. He has good and bad moments now, I feel like. But, we're going to know.
Yeah.
And I mean Vince Vaughn, not Daniel Craig.
Right.
Daniel
exactly.
Craig's always excellent.
Good. He's always excellent. Yeah.
But not related.
Has this show just really gone totally off the rails at this point? I don't mean you and I.
No, you mean the actual True Detective.
The actual True Detective show.
I don't know. It was weird. I watched it twice this episode, and the first time I watched it, we were sitting on the couch, and I wasn't taking notes, and my girlfriend is playing some iPad game, not really watching it, and then decided she wasn't really into it.
Lazy Turtles or something.
Something like that.
Yeah.
And I felt kind of weird watching it, like watching it in front of her, because she was so not into it. She was so like sort of bored with it, and it had such a dour mood,
right?
That I started to feel like this is
silly. What am I doing?
But the second time I watched it alone, and
you felt better,
and I felt better.
Okay,
but I don't think it was because I was watching it alone. It's because I think some of the comedy came through.
Is it something like eating a quart of ice cream, and when there's somebody in the room, you're like, this is not.
You
good
feel
behavior.
embarrassed,
you feel
like
bad about this.
When you're alone, you're like, oh, this is really cool. I'm going to follow all the leads. I'm going to look up Xena online to see what the connection is between Xena and Antigone.
Right. Yeah. Exactly.
But when you're watching in front of other people, you're kind of embarrassed.
Right.
Maybe watch the show by yourself. Don't watch it with other people.
Right.
That's our first bit of advice.
Yeah. What the heck happens in this episode?
Well, okay. So we find out I think the most important thing we find out is really that Ray's still alive.
Yeah. We were right.
You were right. You were right.
Yeah. I mean, obviously, he was shot by something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Riot pellets.
Riot pellets. Now, one thing we should talk about, and I think did I forward that email to you? I think I did. A guy we know. He's in the He's in the apprentice program at our theater. Larry sent us
photos of the shotgun.
Sent a photo of the shotgun from the show and a photo of what the shotgun that he believes was being used. Here's his email.
Okay.
Hello, Kevin and Will. I think I found the type of shotgun that was used at the end of episode 2, an Ithaca 37 pump action. And he showed, he has pictures below with a link to the Wikipedia page for this gun. This gun has a Wikipedia page.
Oh, cool.
An interesting note in the Wikipedia states that 2 of the 3 biggest users of this model shotgun are the LAPD and the LA County Sheriff's Department.
Yeah.
So going along with what Ray says in the episode, where he mentions this type of pellet that they're used is something that they use
in law enforcement.
They use it like It's used in riot situations. I think from my reading, they also use it going into, like, if they storm into an apartment, they might have this in a shotgun instead of
bullets,
instead of lethal rounds.
Right. Yeah.
I still find it really hard to believe how good a shape he. I mean, he was in bad shape.
Right. It didn't look so bad though.
Yeah.
It looked like
a few
like some
welts.
Yeah, some welts.
Like somebody shot him with BB gun.
Right. And then he's out all night.
Right.
All right. So let's talk about the opening shot from this episode.
Okay.
Which is the Conway Twitty tribute act in full, like, early 70s.
Mm-hmm. This is when the show has
cowboy
gone
regalia.
Full-blown David Lynch.
You're right. Absolutely.
Like any sort of teases in that direction has been blown wide open.
Yeah.
And obviously...
Right. We're in the Dark Lodge. We're currently
somebody
in
on
the
Reddit,
Dark Lodge.
Somebody on Reddit claimed this is now the actual next season of Twin Peaks.
This is season 3 of Twin Peaks.
Exactly.
We just moved into it.
Exactly.
Oh, man, that would be amazing. Kyle MacLachlan ended up in this show.
I know if they tied it back into something.
That would be so good.
Yeah. So, yeah, he's singing The Rose.
Yeah, I didn't know the song.
I know this song really well, but I didn't know this version of the song.
Okay.
So I know the Bette Midler's version.
Yeah, why do you know the Bette Midler version so well?
The Rose came out when I was quite young. I was probably like the movie The Rose.
Yeah.
And I might have been like 8, 9, 10, somewhere around there.
Is that the film based on a Broadway production? Is it a theatrical production, The Rose?
Let's take the time to look that up.
Okay. While you're doing that, I'll continue to talk. Well, she plays like a nightclub singer, right?
It came out in 1979, so I was 11 years old. The tragic life of a self-destructive female rock star who struggles to deal with the constant pressures of her career and the demands of a ruthless business manager. So it's kind of like A Star is Born with a very...
Yeah.
You know, it's supposed to be modeled after... who's that? The singer who died in the late 60s, woman.
Karen Carpenter?
No. Might have been a little Karen Carpenter. But no, it was the...
Too wholesome, except for the eating disorder.
Yeah, she was sort of a folk rock singer.
Janis Joplin?
Janis Joplin. It's sort of the story, very fictionalized version of Janis Joplin's life.
I watched the Nina Simone documentary that's currently on Netflix. Everyone should go watch it.
That I think that should be the first of many tips of like things to watch before season 2, episode 4 of True Detective. I have a few of those as well.
Yeah. Okay. Great.
I would say watch The Rose. I mean, I was 11 when I saw it, so like movies, when you see them as a child, you're never as critical of them.
No, absolutely.
But I loved that movie and I loved that song. I think we had the soundtrack. We might have had it on VHS. I don't know why I know it so well, but I'm pretty sure we had the soundtrack, and it was like a big hit.
Yeah, sure.
What year were you born?
78.
You were born in 78, so you were 1 when that movie comes out. So it's unless
I have seen it though.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
But it doesn't live in your psyche like it does.
Not in that way at all.
So, and that song is about rebirth.
Oh, okay.
So I think that's why it's in the it's in the show.
Right.
It's
that club, that bar that they're in though, where the previous 2 episodes, it's that woman singing a song just on guitar. At least in the Lynch settings, it was a bar or club, and there was people there. You know, like it was full.
Well, this is more of the dream sequence.
Yeah, I know, but in the previous, it's still set in that same bar that they're always in.
Right.
But even when it's a non-dream sequence in the previous 2 episodes, there's nobody in that place except for Frank and Ray every time. And then there's some
other people.
I don't remember seeing anyone.
There
else.
are other people in that bar.
Well, I beg to differ.
It's kind of, you know, if that's all it was pulling, she should have been canceled a while ago. She can only pull like 5 people plus a gangster meeting a crooked cop.
So is Ray talking to his dad?
Yeah, that's his dad.
Yeah, sure. His knuckles are beat up.
Yeah, I like that moment of you've got my hands, or you've got your father's hands, and then he shows hands and they're all tore up like he's been in a fist fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's basically his father his father. It's weird. His father is like describing a dream to him.
Yeah.
That he had about him.
About Ray.
Yeah, and suggesting that he's going to die first.
Yeah.
Basically.
Via killer trees.
Yeah, he runs through the trees. The trees are giants.
Yeah.
You step out of the trees, they kill you. They shoot you to pieces.
Why would trees even need guns?
I don't
You know
know.
what I mean? Because they're so big and strong.
I don't think the they is the
I
trees.
think I mean the trees.
No,
I think he means the trees.
All right, could be the trees.
Like the Ents
The what?
from Lord of the Rings.
Oh, okay. You're seeing a Lord of the Rings reference in it.
Yep.
All right. Anyway, I mean, it was. I don't know. What do you? It was. The scene was what it was. I mean, it was very. It was.
Yeah, I just thought...
I mean, it connected to things, and it's weird how like you take some David Lynch, you take some, a song that you might know, and you sort of recombine them in a weird way. And
Right.
I think it.
I'm a huge fan of weird.
Yes.
I'm a big fan of David Lynch. So I don't need for things to necessarily make sense. As long as I feel a bit unsettled.
Well, this is the show for you then.
Or creeped out while it's happening. But for me, it doesn't go quite far enough.
It's
lives-
still not weird
it
enough
lives-
for you.
Yeah, it lives
Even this
in-
moment wasn't weird enough for you.
No, I wanted it to be weirder. Like that guy, the Conway Twitty tribute singer. I mean, he was kind of strange, but I wanted like his performance to be bigger. Even.
Right. Well, it was awkward and amateurish,
Right.
which I thought was interesting. But you would have preferred it be like, this is the guy who does him in Las
Right.
Vegas.
Yeah, exactly.
And just totally over the top.
Totally committed.
Yeah. I think he was committed. He was just
was.
sort of awkward.
Yeah.
Shall we move on?
Yeah.
All right.
Do we then cut to Frank at the fertility clinic?
No, well, we see him. No. We see him. He wakes up and presumably calls for backup, and the police
we go
come.
straight to Ray.
Yeah. So we see Ray talking to Annie.
Yeah.
And then Annie taking over the crime scene.
Right.
And one little thing about that I liked. There's two things I liked about that. One was he says, "So I'll go ahead and take the day, Xena."
Right.
It was his parting shot to
Antigone.
Antigone, which is him sort of saying, "I don't really remember your whole name."
Right.
What's funny about that is Xena, of course, is not an actual
Greek
character.
at all.
It's a made up character for the Hercules
Yeah.
spin-off of Hercules show.
Yeah. Xena, warrior princess.
Yeah. And also
you ever
probably
watch that show?
dig at her. Did I ever watch that show?
Yeah.
No, not that. No, I've seen a couple episodes, but I was not.
It's really terrible. It's worth watching.
We recap that one next.
Right.
Take a detour, just recap that for a few weeks, and come back for the final episode.
Right.
And then the other part I really liked was the lieutenant in there who had taken over the crime scene before Antigone shows up.
Right.
And he just looks so suspicious.
Yeah.
And sort of goofy in that scene.
Yeah, and really heavy-handed with if one of my guys gets shot, this is my crime scene.
Right.
And Annie is kind of nonplussed about the whole thing.
Yeah,
It's kinda like, okay, man.
Now, I want to know if the evidence did get sent to the Vinci department for processing, or whether by her showing up that didn't happen.
Right.
Maybe it doesn't matter.
I don't know.
So then we go to the fertility clinic.
Oh, yeah, sure.
How do we want to dig into this? I mean, one thing that's interesting about this, I feel like they're taking a lot of time in this series to explore the characters instead of the plot. There's so much that I feel like in the end we're going to go like that had nothing to do with the plot. That didn't really change anything. And I feel like this fertility thing is like that.
Sure. I mean, we're getting a lot at motivation. Mm-hmm. Which is, it's not that's not important or interesting.
No, it just points to what the focus of the show is. It's like the show doesn't really, it's almost like Serial, like how it ends is irrelevant.
Sure.
Like, okay, this is the guy that
But
did it.
typically these kind of crime dramas are very much about plot.
What's that?
Usually these kind of, like a crime drama is almost all about plot.
Right. It's all about who did it is what's...
Yeah.
And what's interesting is like a lot of the analysis that I'm reading online is so focused on trying to figure it out, the mystery of it. Like who did it and why, and throwing up these crazy speculations. And I'm really like...
I have no interest whatsoever.
I don't care, really. I mean, I don't even think when it's all done, I'll be like, oh that's the guy who did it. It's not. It's sort of... It's not irrelevant, but it's more this sort of...
the world.
It's setting up this world and exploring this world of corruption. And
Yeah.
whether or not the mayor did it, he's still guilty.
Right.
He's guilty of something.
Right. Yeah. Frank, the scene in the fertility clinic, I mean, first of all, he's being a real baby about this whole process. I mean, I don't think most people go into one of those rooms with their wife and then, like, get a blowjob.
Right. Most of the time
Like,
you have to go in by yourself and jack off.
Right. So he's like, quit being such a dick about this whole thing. I mean, it's not uncommon for you and your wife are clearly a little bit older. You want to.
She is going way beyond the.
Yeah, she's way more than she has to do.
Right.
All she would have to say to you is, "I want to have a baby.
Go to the
This
clinic.
is what we need to do. Go to the clinic. Take care of this. This is something you've done a million times. It's not a big deal. Don't complain to me that it happens in a strange environment or something like that."
No, if you have permission to jerk off somewhere
that isn't your home,
do
it,
easy.
man.
I don't think it's ever been hard in a place where I have been. I mean, it's not like I've been given permission in explicitly very many locations, but I can. Like, that would be the only thing that would get in the way.
Right. I don't know. And then he says, like, this whole thing
She's
is
giving him a blowjob.
The whole thing's unnatural, like in vitro, and you know, I don't know why he's so concerned with whether or not this is a.
But this is the
process.
second blowjob that a guy has not enjoyed. Is it only the second?
Maybe so.
There's only been 2 blowjobs in the show so far,
and
both
nobody's
times,
on board.
And
nobody's on board.
The guy in both situations,
would rather be doing anything else.
What does he have against? What does Nick Pizzolatto have against?
I don't know.
Blowjobs?
Maybe he's just not getting any right now.
I guess so. Or he's just like, I've got so many good ones. I've had so many great blowjobs in my life. I hate a bad blowjob.
Ray.
No guy hates a bad blowjob.
And then Ray gets really upset because he's unable to perform, which is so cliche as well.
Yeah,
like this has never happened to me line that he
delivers.
Like,
this threatens your
never
masculinity.
in my life. Yeah, it's like, oh, come on. It's happened to everybody.
Yeah.
You're over the age of 30. It's happened to you at some point. Yeah, so they have they say some nasty, terrible things to each other, and then Frank, who's really hyperbolic in this scene, then he leaves.
Well, she has the party line, which is a good one.
Does.
Go suck your own dick.
Right. Yeah.
It's a good one. Well, I guess the next thing is this mayor's house. But on the way to the mayor's house, here's the other thing that Nick Pizzolatto must hate is e-cigarettes.
Oh, yeah, it's amazing. That's right. It's an e-cigarette.
Is that a fucking e-cigarette?
Which I actually appreciate because I think they're ridiculous. And I've got a good friend of mine who's a stand-up comic, and I give her so much shit about smoking an e-cigarette. I don't know why. I just think that they're funny.
I think
they're kind of ridiculous.
It's so much better than having someone smoke an actual cigarette next to you.
Right.
I mean, if I was traveling in a car with somebody and they wanted to use an e-cigarette, I'd be like, fine.
Yeah, fine, go ahead. You know what? I'm coming on board with him because now in those states where marijuana is legal, everybody's smoking hash oil.
Do you think she's smoking hash oil?
No, I don't think she is. I don't think she is. But it's made me like them more. Because I'm like, oh, okay, these now have a purpose in my life.
To give you a reason to have one?
Yeah. Right. Now I can see myself owning one. Whereas before I didn't see the point at all. But they go to the mayor's house.
Yeah, they go to the mayor's house. We meet the mayor's son,
and his
wife, who's the stepmother of the son.
Right.
And barely older than, maybe the same age as the son.
Probably. This whole scene is hilarious.
And then Betty that's the one who's the daughter who is up in the room somewhere. So the mayor has a son and a daughter.
Yeah.
Because at first they mistake before she speaks and betrays her Polish or Russian accent.
Right.
She's actually Polish. I don't know if she's going for a Russian accent.
I don't know either.
So she talks before the woman talks, the blonde woman talks. They assume she's the daughter of the mayor,
right?
Which she looks nothing like
the mayor at all.
No,
clearly not the same ethnicity.
No, and then you find out she's the mother, or not the mother, the stepmom.
Yeah,
and. Yeah, where do we begin with this scene?
I don't know. This place is hilarious. I love the 2 portraits of the mayor that flank the
front door.
No, the steps.
The steps, right.
Yeah,
right. The grand entrance.
The grand entrance. The spiral staircases.
And there's so many
side.
great paintings of him in this.
Yeah, it's
Again,
amazing.
the set dresser must have so much money. Like that is the biggest chunk of the budget beyond like Colin Farrell and Vince Vaughn's salary has to be set dressing.
Right.
I wonder if it's the same artist, the one where they're all standing. It looks like sort of like the promo for a Mexican soap opera.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Yeah, I wonder if that's the same artist who did all the nude.
Yeah, maybe
because it's
so.
like that. It has that same sort of photorealistic quality.
Yeah, right.
But it's still clearly a
very true.
painting.
I love the question put to her is like, "Do you guys have a party here?" And it's like, no, it's this house is all the time.
But she doesn't have to say that. It's just sort of like, no, that's a stupid question.
Right. But I would want to ask more. They don't seem tickled by this. Like the Annie and Paul, I would be tickled by it. Like this is hilarious.
I did like how Annie just sort of passes her off to Paul, like after that conversation in the car where she's like, you'll have better luck getting info out of the hookers because you're a cute boy.
Yeah.
And then she as soon as she's like, oh, you talk to her, she'll talk to you maybe, and then she takes off goes upstairs.
Yeah.
And one of my favorite moments in this is I think she's smoking medicinal marijuana in that weird apparatus. The balloon looks like a balloon.
Oh yeah, that's a vaporizer. On the bigger like tabletop vaporizers.
But is it to smoke marijuana?
Yeah, that's probably
it's some version of we used to call them what do we call them? There was like these tubes. You'd fill up the tube with smoke, and then you open the tube up, and it was some version of a bowl.
Sure.
In high school.
Yeah.
But it's the same sort of thing. You fill up a chamber with smoke, and then you.
But vapor. These are vapor.
This is just vapor. Okay.
Yeah.
And then she says it's for her eyes, and that made me think she has a prescription for glaucoma.
Yeah, I think she's
that
being
what
a smartass. I think.
But
she's just
I feel like that's what her. Is glaucoma one of the things?
Yeah, you could get a
I bet
her
her script is written out for glaucoma.
Yeah, right. And she's 24.
Right. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, I'm trying to think of the name of the vaporizer. I think it's the volcano or the cyclone. There's one that you just get vapor in these huge like bags, and then you just cinch it up, and then you just pass it around. Or just leave it there, and anytime you want to pick it up and take a pull, you do.
And so it's vape. It's like there's no actual smoke in it.
No, because you're just putting a heating element on the pot.
Oh, so you're getting it to evaporate.
Yeah.
Hence the word vapor.
Vapor, right.
All
so it's not as harsh on the lungs. It doesn't char. It actually you get way more out of
all the carcinogens.
Yeah, exactly. They're pretty nifty.
That's
another thing that everybody should do before watching the next episode is go out and get a vaporizer.
There's a lot of marijuana references in this.
Yeah,
episode.
People are just getting fucked up constantly.
Yeah.
So she goes upstairs and there's a noise and she checks on the daughter, and I didn't feel like I got any information about what was going on in that room.
With the daughter?
Yeah.
She just wants to be left alone. Get out of my room.
Right, but she's also.
But she's sitting at a desk with some papers. There's nothing very...
But there's no exchange between the two of them.
Well, she asks if she's all right, and the daughter just closes the door.
Right. But
as you do.
I guess.
There's a stranger in your house.
Right.
Close the door. That's step one.
Yeah. All right.
That's the first thing you're supposed to do. And then someone gets thrown into the pool from the second story.
Yeah.
And you have to go investigate that.
Right. And that's the son, who looks like Xerxes or something.
who's wearing underwear, but it's indecent enough that she wants him to close.
Annie wants him to close his robe. Like that's the problem with this. That's the most grievous thing that's happened in this house thus far. Is this guy's somewhat disrobed.
It was gonna. I mean, if it was you couldn't really see it because of the lighting.
It's just a European bathing suit.
No.
There's just a Speedo. He's just wearing a Speedo.
No, I think because there are those underwear that has like extra room, so it doesn't press your junk, and so your junk is allowed to be like full, and it looks like a sack.
Yeah, I think it's just a
No, when I wear a
swimsuit.
Speedo, it gets it gets slammed
Is
up
it just
there.
does it?
Yeah, it doesn't. And then there was it was
Do you
looking.
wear Speedos?
Do I wear Speedos? I have at some points in my life.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Were you feeling real good about yourself in those moments?
No, I just had to go. I just was swimming to work out, and
Okay.
why not wear Speedos?
All right. Fair
I mean,
enough.
it's just me and some old women in the pool.
Right. Okay.
Who cares?
Sure.
I mean, I wouldn't wear it to the beach.
All right.
I wouldn't wear it in a social situation with
Sure.
women of my age.
Okay.
You know.
All right. This is my other favorite part about that scene. We could go on and on about this scene, but so Annie says to the son, like, "So where did you get this accent?"
Right.
And I don't know if she's referring to something that has like a hip hop element to it or something like that. If she's
Well,
saying,
he also has. There's an ethnicity to his accent. Like
Sure.
it's like he's using like sort of a Latino flair to his accent.
right.
But he clearly has grown up in the United States. I think that's
Yeah.
what she's calling out on. Like the
Okay.
mayor has lived here long enough,
Right.
and
Yeah,
he
yeah.
lives in fucking Bel Air.
Right. Yeah.
You know, he's been at least middle class and clearly
Sure.
upper class now for quite a while.
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
And it's a pretend accent. She
Right.
can tell it's a pretend accent.
Yeah.
Are you saying she was being racist for saying that?
I don't know. I don't think she was being racist.
Because he calls
except
her out for it. He, says,
He
like,
does. He does a little bit, but it's not really a Latino. He's not like putting
No,
on
yeah, it's just
a heavy
it's,
like
yeah.
Latino accent either.
It's more like it's more like
an affected
I'm
accent
I'm
of some
I'm a
kind.
thug.
Right. But
I'm a thug, and you better get out of here.
Right, but I guess if I was directing, my note would be like, "Hey, why don't you do something that would make sense for you, which is like a Latino
Oh, I see.
accent, like a heavy."
I don't think he's with
Hispanic
it
accent.
enough. I think he's just like, I'm going to put on a weird. Like
Yeah.
this is the accent he uses when he organizes parties,
Right.
Right?
Yes. Party organizing accent.
Yeah.
For sure.
because the people, the really rich people who are asking him to create these parties for him,
Yeah.
want the
Full
want
experience.
To, want to believe this is how, the other half lives,
Right.
And
Yeah.
goes.
Someone
to
in
party.
Chula Vista would throw a party.
Yeah.
And the music is hilarious too. I don't know why in either strip club scenes or a scene like this, like there has to be some Prodigy style electronic music.
Are you going to the club now?
No, I'm saying in while they're in the house, the music that's playing is like heavy electronica.
Right, which is actually not what he would listen to.
I don't think so.
I think he would be listening to hip hop.
Yeah, right?
He would be listening to whatever, some relatively recent hip hop,
Yeah,
maybe 90s hip hop,
yeah. Anyway,
because of his age, because
Sure.
he would have been a teenager maybe
Yeah.
in the 90s. Although, I don't know, he's pretty young. How young do you think he is?
I think he's like 23. I put him at 23.
Yeah, so maybe not. But he would definitely be listening to hip hop. He wouldn't be
I think
listening
so, too.
to. That's a weird thing of when older people write. Oh, that's what I was watching. Now do not watch this instead of True Detective. I was watching this for another reason. I watched the pilot of Vampire Diaries, which I'd never seen.
All right. I don't even know.
Terrible show.
All right.
Awful show.
Okay.
And the teenagers in there are often saying things that only like 40 or 50-year-old men would say.
Right. Or would write to put
Or
in the mouths of
referencing,
teenagers.
yeah, like referencing, sort of offhandedly.
Sal Bello.
Right, just referencing things from that they just have no business knowing.
Right.
I mean, maybe kids would know these things, but they wouldn't know all these things.
Right.
They keep referencing, anyway.
I think maybe it's the danger of, T-Bone Burnett's amazing. And in the right context, he's totally the appropriate music
He's using
supervisor.
Yeah, if he's actually scoring scene to scene, if that's what they have him doing, there are some odd choices, though.
Yeah.
Like in that final scene, too. There's a lot of times where they're adding this ominousness to a scene that I don't know if it necessarily needs.
Sure.
Or Like, just silence would be better. I don't know. It's so weird to second-guess shit like that.
Yeah.
It actually annoys me when I listen to other podcasts and
Right.
they second-guess choices like that.
Right, yeah.
So maybe I should just stop.
Okay, fair enough.
There was something about that I wanted to look up. It was based on what we were just talking about.
Oh, maybe somewhere around when they go to the...
I feel like we could talk for another... Oh, there's one last... Oh, collage. That's what I wanted to talk about. That she's cutting out these pictures. And she gets so upset when the wind blows in.
Yeah, that's why she gets upset.
Yeah.
I didn't know. No, I didn't.
She's building collages.
Oh, she's a real artist.
But she's like, that's her art form.
Yeah.
Is collage using
Popular
magazines.
Fashion magazines.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Which is also the kind of thing that like 12-year-old girls do.
Right.
You know, it's the art form of 12-year-old girls.
All right, from here, do we go to the movie set?
Well, we see Ray. No, not right away. We see Ray at the doctor's office. He gets cleared.
Oh, right.
And the only really interesting thing about that, I mean, it seems like he just reinforcing this reborn idea. He's going to go. He's going. I don't know if going straight is exactly it, but he's going to keep a clear head.
Yeah. Change
his ways. It's the beginning of his redemption story. But the doctor says to him, "Do you want to live?"
Yeah.
And he doesn't answer.
Right.
No answer. There's a lot of poignant non-answers in the show.
A lot of extended moments of silence.
Well, you know, this is something I encourage in improvisers.
Is to just shut up for a minute.
Well, when asked a direct question, instead of answering it, to be silent for an extended period, an uncomfortable amount of time.
Okay.
And then change the subject.
Okay.
Because it says a lot more than actually answering the question.
Right.
Then we see the Vince, Frank,
Yeah.
Lane extorting from the construction site guy that he used to do business with. We also see some scenes with Annie talking to her superiors, and there's some interesting thing in this, and Ray talking to her, his superiors.
Oh, okay, yeah.
No, they're both they cut back and forth between the two of them talking to their superiors.
Yeah.
And I thought what was interesting is we did have what I sort of feared, being treated in a sexist way. It's interesting it comes from the woman who is her supervisor.
Who's just like, hey, why don't you just allude to the fact that you're going to sleep with Ray?
Use some sex. Get him, manipulate him like a woman does.
Right. I was like, that's terrible.
Yeah.
That was really terrible.
Yeah.
Shut up. Gross.
Also, what is she going to... I don't understand what she's supposed to leverage him
I don't know either. It seems like they have plenty of information about Ray.
Right. Like just
Ray's
investigate
got,
him.
Like a lot of problems.
This is a terrible strategy.
It is.
He may drop some information on eventually that can be used against him. But
maybe, but it sounds like they've already looked into his bank records.
Yeah, they know.
And they're putting some pressure on Ray's ex-wife.
Just bring him in and interrogate him.
The guy's ready to crumble at any point in time.
There's a lot of bad strategy. In this television show, I
really like though when
really bad strategy
when Ray gets in front of his supervisors.
Oh, that's a great scene.
He's just kind of like, you guys, don't you want to not have me do this?
This is a bad idea,
right? I'm a burnout.
I'm a burnout. I'm going to at some point get some moral fiber.
Right.
Can't you see that I'm on a redemption arc?
Right, exactly.
Get somebody else who's on the way down.
Yeah.
I've hit rock bottom.
Right. Right.
I'm on my way up. My favorite part of that is how the mayor is like in a totally different scene.
Yeah.
Like they're having a reasonable scene. He's
pacing
and going on about Annie, about how much he hates her.
Right.
He's sort of like...
Does he use the C word?
A lot.
Yeah.
A lot. And so he's walking back and forth. Going on about how he's going to get her fired and she's going to run a yogurt stand when this is all over.
Right.
And he's sort of like, I feel like he's like the crazy uncle or the crazy grandfather in the scene, and everybody's like, oh, just don't listen to him.
Right.
We actually run things.
Yeah.
We pay him a lot of money, and he thinks he runs things.
Sure.
Anyway, I enjoyed that scene. But I feel like you're starting to get the sense that Ray is going to come through, and
he's going to do the right thing.
He's going to try to do the right thing.
Yeah,
and pay for it. The trees are going to kill him.
Yeah,
because of it. Oh, and then we have this scene where Annie shuts down her fling.
Oh, that's right.
Shuts down Steve, which I don't know what to say about that. That was just enjoyable.
And just the line. Oh, so I guess you're just a suck 'em and leave 'em type, which is again alluding to oral sex rather than just
Right.
than just straight ahead sex, I guess. And
again, he's complaining.
He's complaining about it.
That's
He's
okay.
just like, I can't believe you just had sex with me, and now you're gonna not do that anymore,
Yeah, I mean, how old is he?
right?
He's acting
in
like a
his-
15-year-old.
Right. He's in his 30s. Guy's clearly in his 30s.
Yeah, so she's giving a brush off. Be disappointed, be
Right,
upset,
yeah.
but you don't need to get ugly.
Well, and he's
then
totally shooting himself in the foot
Right,
because
he has no chance now.
Yeah, if he would have just been cool, if he
Right.
would have just said like, "Totally get it. Maybe we're in different places." But if you're bored, if you get bored, give me a call.
I've done some research on your kink, and I'm up for it.
Right? Yeah. I'm a
I'll
little
do it.
better informed.
Yeah, I know what you're doing.
Those
now.
knives, you've got knives everywhere. Do you want to do something with them?
I'm okay with it.
Yeah.
And then just be cool.
Just be cool.
That's the first rule.
Mm-hmm.
The first rule of a breakup.
Yeah.
Where she's breaking up with you.
Where you were already in a casual relationship.
Yeah, it was
to
casual
begin
to begin with. Yeah, this was not a strong relationship.
No.
Now, what do you think Elvis was doing in that
I
scene?
don't know.
He was just enjoying it.
Right.
He was just enjoying it like
Yeah.
a brother, like a
Yeah, right? And he just pokes at him, like pokes the bear as he's walking by.
Hey, mama's boy.
Right? Which I don't think he has any evidence that like, there's nothing that's happening between him and
Unless
Annie
that
that
is
suggests, like, a mama's boy. And,
Unless that's part of the
part of the kink, you think?
Like she plays, she wants him to call him mommy.
All right.
in
Yeah,
bed.
maybe. Okay. That's pure
It's like-
speculation.
you know what? It has a lot more evidence for it than a lot
Yeah.
of the speculation I have
Right. But it was just...
I have been seeing.
Yeah.
There was one person, one speculation I heard of somebody suggesting that Annie is gay
Okay.
because she's looking for a prostitute to have sex with when she was looking at those hooker websites.
All right.
That's a
That doesn't
terrible
make any
idea.
sense.
That
No.
makes no sense at all.
Absolutely not. She clicked on the hetero porn.
Sure,
She would have clicked on lady on lady
I guess so.
if that was
But
her
that's not
interest.
even very good evidence.
No, that's not. No,
That's
it's
not
not.
terrible
It tells you
evidence.
nothing.
Especially given what we know about her sister. She was
Sure.
looking. She was either gathering evidence or trying to find out what's going on with her sister.
Yeah,
And then she got
true.
distracted by porn because
Right.
that's what you do.
Yeah.
You get distracted by porn.
Right.
No matter why you go to the hooker site,
Right.
it gets you distracted. And then we have the scene with the dad. So then we have the second scene with Dad, and we see
Right.
Dad. He's in much worse shape than he looks like in the dream sequence.
Yeah. Clearly a racist.
He's Although he speaks very highly of Holloway, who is the chief
That's true. Yeah.
in Vinci.
Yeah.
So he's a selective racist.
Yeah.
In his own mind, he's probably not.
Right. Exactly.
But he was. He talks of they both worked for Daryl Gates back in the day. Are you familiar with Daryl Gates?
Yeah. Chief of police for Los Angeles.
That's right. Before the
During the LA
during the
riots.
riots, during the
Yeah.
LA riots, and leading up to it.
Right. What is that? Like 94?
Daryl Gates left the chief. He was chief of police until 92. I looked it up.
Okay.
So, and the riots were like 91.
All right.
Something like that. And he's watching, I believe the movie, I looked it up on IMDb. I'm not certain, but it fit. Kirk
Yeah.
Douglas was in a movie called Detective Story from like what year was that? It was in the 50s, early 50s.
Okay.
He was mostly in Westerns in that
Yeah.
period.
Right.
So this looks like one of the few detective movies he was
What a
in.
great cleft chin. Kirk Douglas.
Yeah. And then, of course, the title, Detective Story.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
It must be just one of those things like, oh, I'm writing
It's
True Detective. I should
Right.
watch old detective stories to get
Yeah.
inspired.
Right.
That may be one of them.
Have you seen the movie Man from Snowy River?
No.
Oh, loved it as a kid. It's set in Australia. And It's
Okay.
about this kid who lives. He's like in the outback, somewhere like rural, and he knows how to break horses. And he gets
That's a very
embroiled.
useful skill.
Yeah, he gets embroiled in this relationship with Kirk Douglas's daughter, and Kirk Douglas is
I was
like
wondering
a
how
wealthy
you were going to tie
landowner.
this in.
Kirk Douglas is a wealthy landowner, but Kirk Douglas plays both the wealthy landowner and his own brother Spur, who
Okay.
who was a prospector, and who's lost a leg. It's great. I think it's a Disney movie. It's got a really inspired ending. They have to go chase wild horses. He chases down wild horses. They're called brumbies. Go see that before you watch the next episode. True Detective. So this is the detail from that scene that fascinated me. Was the
what is that material called?
I don't know. This is
they
like
used to do that all the
polymer.
time.
When I was in junior high,
when I was a kid, you'd always get stuff put in that.
Yeah,
and
we made something in shop class where we took a coin and put it in that polymer.
We had collectibles. We had like a tchotchke thing in our family room.
Yeah.
Display various tchotchkes, and I would say 10 to 20% of those things were in that material.
Yeah.
But that was like a real shoddy job. Whoever did that,
yeah, well, it
done
wasn't very clear either. Like
I wonder if Ray did that as a child.
I don't know. It's a precursor to his fascination.
I don't take my badge. I don't want my badge anymore. Fuck this.
Put it in goo that solidifies.
They fired Daryl Gates.
Right.
Fuck that police force.
Right.
Yeah, but what is that material called?
I don't know.
Somebody email us and tell us what that
right.
material's called.
Of course, and I don't blame him for throwing it in the trash. It's a stupid thing to have.
No,
your badge in a chunky.
It would be way better just to have
giant
the badge.
Rectangle. Just have the badge.
Why would you want it in that stuff?
I don't know.
I guess it was a preserving thing. Like there was a sense of like you're preserving it for the future. Like
right,
you can't mark it up anymore.
Yeah, I guess, but
you're totally ruining it at the same time.
Absolutely. And nobody can use it as a prop.
Yeah,
you know
like if your son or your grandson decide to get interested in movies.
Yeah.
And like, oh yeah, I got a badge you can use.
Legitimate badge. A sketch show, like a sketch show came up. Your
grandson was going through Second City and needed a badge.
Exactly.
It would be so much better than buying the $2 badge at the...
Totally. The plastic thing?
Yeah.
Joke doesn't work unless...
Joke totally works better if it's a real badge.
It's way better.
So that was Kirk Douglas. What is that actor's name? He's been in a bunch of stuff, too. The guy who played the dad.
Yeah, I don't know.
You don't know?
I like him, though.
What has he been in?
While you're looking for that, what happens next?
Okay, the next... I'll give you the next
Then do we go to the movie set? I want to go to the dystopian movie set.
Maybe I didn't take any notes on that moment. Where did I? Oh, I did, definitely. No, it's coming after. There's a scene where the Russian leaves.
Oh yeah,
the casino.
Oh my God, this is one of my favorite moments when Vince Vaughn's when Frank's like sidekick heavy whatever whose name is I looked it up on his character name is Nails. That's just always been off his right shoulder with this odd. He's got an odd shaped mouth.
Yeah.
But he asks him, like, do you think that he might be responsible for killing Casper? And his reply is, he reminds me of an anaconda mixed with a shark.
A great white.
Yeah. I was like, what?
Yeah, exactly.
It's as though Frank asked him that instead of, do you think that guy might have killed Casper, what would be a super wicked animal?
He's changing the subject.
Right.
He doesn't know the answer to it. He doesn't know. He has no idea whether he did it. He knows he's a bad dude.
Right, yeah.
He could.
He just answered the question he wished Frank would have asked, which is, what would be a super cool animal? So, like, let's imagine what something that was a cross between an anaconda
and a great white.
Is anaconda, now is that a snake or a fish?
It's a snake, man.
An anaconda snake.
Yeah.
So you got a snake in the water,
yeah,
or a shark who's in the jungle.
Who can also go on land. Yeah.
Right.
I mean, obviously it's going to have to stay
which is
in
more
the water.
terrifying. I
think if I saw a shark on land, like slithering on land, I'd be super freaked out.
So it's like it's like a shark, it's like a snake, but with like a shark head.
Yeah, I think so.
And it's slithering around the ground,
right?
Coming at you,
super long. Yeah,
way long, but big like a shark.
But big like a shark.
That would
I
be
think
scary.
It's got a shark's mouth,
no dorsal fins. So like cut off all the fins, and it's got a shark mouth, an anaconda body, and a shark's mouth.
Does anaconda have fangs?
Yeah.
Is that scarier, fangs or a jaw,
or
like shark
three
jaws?
rows of razor sharp teeth? Yeah, a shark jaw.
Shark jaw, yeah, definitely. That's scary.
Yeah.
Still don't know if it killed Casper or not.
No, we don't.
No idea whether
Anaconda, pythons are anacondas.
Sure.
Yeah.
Anyway, Fred Ward.
Okay.
I know why I like him. He's in one of those movies that I really love, and I watch it whenever it's on. I watch it. I can start at any moment and watch like 10 minutes of it or the whole thing.
Yeah.
He's in The Right Stuff.
Oh, okay.
He's one of the astronauts in The Right Stuff.
Right.
So there's that. Then there's Paul talking to his friend from the military.
Oh, yeah, this is amazing.
Yeah. Now, there was one scene I was relieved because there was this little clip of this where he shoves this guy to the ground and then walks away disgusted with himself.
Yeah, you're glad he didn't
I thought
beat the shit out of him.
Well, I'm glad it wasn't a homophobic beatdown. Like that's what I thought it was some guy comes onto him.
Right.
Maybe this
Well,
says
it
something.
is a homophobic beatdown, essentially.
No.
He's rejecting him.
No, but he's rejecting him because he wants to talk about the village they massacred in Iraq or something.
No, I think he says, like, do you remember those 3 days? They're talking about a village, not that they massacred. I think they're talking about
this is their...
They had a fling, man.
Oh. I thought I was totally reading it like it was some Miley...
Yeah, massacre kind of thing, as was I, until as the conversation continues, I'm like, this is not about... because they talk about how pleasant this village is. No, they had like a fling for a couple days.
So in his mind, he has this sort of fantasy of the two of them are still like now mercenary soldiers. They've left the army.
Right.
They're living in this village.
Yeah.
And they're like the kingpins of this village, the co-kings.
The co-kings. I don't know if that's it necessarily.
But they're living together as lovers.
Right.
I guess so. So it was what I feared in a weird way.
Yes, it is exactly what you feared.
But it's not a beatdown.
No, it's not a beatdown.
He's just like,
rejected.
You just shut up.
Like,
don't talk to me about this.
Right.
Shove you to the ground.
Yeah.
All right. Okay.
That's why he's so weird when he interacts with the male prostitute when they're out in the street. Like he's canvassing prostitutes to see if anybody knows Casper. And then he interacts with the male prostitute. And I think this is added up now. Like...
Can we just have him say it to somebody?
Yeah, right.
Can we just have him say it?
Well, when he's...
Or is this so that there are people who can watch all these episodes and still be in denial that he's gay?
Right.
No, it's something else, man.
Right.
But, can't be the Paul's gay.
But Dumpy Detective takes a picture of him.
Right. But why is Dumpy Detective even following him?
I have no idea. Because Dumpy Detective, I think, wants to...
Oh, he wants to out him because he's the one who wants to out him.
Right,
he's just doing it on his own time.
Yeah, I think
he's like, I'm going to follow him. He's gay.
This guy's gay.
This guy gay.
Why is he such a weird? Why is he so weird about it? So you can just be like, Paul, you're clearly gay, man.
So it's like an intervention.
I think it is.
It's not so he's out him to shame him.
No, not at all.
It's like to have
good.
Just to sort of get his friends around, sit him down,
right,
and say, dude,
yeah,
you're gay, and that's fine.
You're gay. It's totally okay.
The president lit the White House up rainbow.
Yeah.
Everything's cool now.
Right. Everything's... Stop drinking so much.
Stop drinking so much. Find a nice boy.
Yeah.
Find a nice man.
Don't have sex with women. Don't drag women into this problem of yours.
Because
Because then they go to the
unless
club.
you really want to.
Then they go to that club where Casper has been soliciting.
Right.
And he runs into Frank.
So the worlds collide just for a moment.
Just for a moment.
Nothing really happens, but
right. But
maybe
then
that'll come back.
He's talking to, again, a male prostitute that sometimes has slept with women.
Right.
For
another nail on the speculation that Paul is anything but gay.
Right.
Nail in the coffin.
And he orders it, like he won't make eye contact.
Yeah,
he orders he immediately hammers a glass of whiskey and then orders a double. Like, he's just so messed up about it. It's like, Paul, come on, buddy.
Yeah. I guess it's easy for us to sort of be in our position to just sort of like,
yeah, he could. But that the lawsuit,
it's not so bad.
The lawsuit with the actress
That would
could all
go away. That could go away in a second if he just admitted.
He'd just say that I'm totally gay.
Right. What about anything else about that? Before we get to the Fight Club moment down in the basement with Tito.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Anything else about that? So there's a connection to Tasha. Obviously, there's this character Tasha that is important, and we're eventually probably going to find her.
Yeah,
she's come up twice.
I feel like she's no more important though than the Hispanic woman that went missing,
right?
And that got us from the foreclosure scene to the good people cult.
I mean, well, I don't think any of it's going to be that important.
Right, yeah.
Really. Right. I mean, we're going to find her and she's going to point to the next clue, or she's not going to point to the next clue, or she's dead. Yeah. She's a victim of something.
Sure.
But thankfully, we're not being shoved in our face this year.
That does get accomplished in that scene. And then we're in the basement.
And Frank is talking to all his old... I guess... So he used to be...
The club owner or manager.
Well, no, I think he just was the guy who extorted from that club. Like he was the local. This was his area. He was in charge of this area. He collected protection money from this club and lots of other places around this club, and he was the local gangster.
Yeah.
Now I wasn't aware that this happened very much. Maybe it does, but like he stopped being the gangster for this area. I feel like once you were that thing. Once you're in charge of a neighborhood or a specific vice or a specific like locale, you would never give that up. Like, why would he give that up?
Yeah, right.
So he gave it up.
If you're attempting to become legitimate,
right?
You'd still keep those.
Or you'd put somebody else in charge of it who answers to you.
Yeah.
You know, it's always.
You wouldn't give up streams of money,
right? But somehow he gave up, or they bought themselves out. It felt like the guy at the construction had paid him an amount of money to sort of buy his freedom.
Right.
So maybe that happened. But anyway, so he's asking people to help him with this thing and tell him who's after him. And this is the moment that this guy is deciding, look, we don't answer to you anymore.
Right.
And then we have the fight.
Which I don't think him kicking this guy's ass
changes
anything at all.
Maybe.
I don't think anybody was so intimidated by the fact that he could successfully beat Tito in a competition of classic fisticuffs,
right?
That it would intimidate anyone.
I mean, ultimately, I would think like he seems to be totally on his own. Like he's not
right.
He doesn't really answer. He sort of answers to the mayor,
and he doesn't seem to have much of a crew.
Right.
I mean, he's got Nails.
He's got
four
guys
who will give him answers in the form of hybrid animals.
I mean, maybe we're supposed to believe he's part of this greater network of guys.
So.
And, but he doesn't seem to be. He doesn't seem to have... He's not Tony Soprano and connected to dozens of other families and guys and who would murder for him. And
yeah. He does pull that guy's teeth. That's pretty...
Yeah, and did you
pretty
think...
rough and tumble.
Did you realize, like, he went there with the intention of doing that?
Right.
Because he had the pliers. Why would he have the pliers?
Yeah, or why
would he have to...
How convenient would it be that pliers are just there?
And he doesn't have to ask for them either.
No, they just put them in his hand.
He just put them in his hand. Oh, this is the moment where he take his teeth out.
I also feel like that each of those teeth is not a gold tooth imprinted with the letters in order to form the sentence "fuck you." I feel like it would be a bridge.
Okay.
Like
so it wouldn't be
one piece.
So it would just come out as one.
Yeah, it goes over top of the teeth. I don't think those are all individual.
So it's sort of weird, like that he has individual teeth at the end.
I think so.
I also think it's weird that he disposes it in a trash can that his wife is going to have to. Like, what is he going to think? Like,
yeah.
That's a little sadistic.
Yeah.
To sort of leave that. I'm just going to leave a bunch of teeth in a trash can for my wife to find.
Right. They've got a nice place.
Yeah. And it's vaguely threatening to her. You wouldn't think that would be threatening if your significant other left teeth?
I think it's just it's akin to like a gangster's version of like leaving your underwear on the floor or something. It's just
it's just rude.
It's just rude.
Yeah.
It's like, baby, don't bring other people's teeth home with you. You know, it's like take your shoes off when you come in the door. Don't bring teeth home.
Wow, we're we're almost an hour in, and we have not. We still have not talked about Mad Max.
Oh yeah, which is fun. It was a fun.
So there's that, and there's the finding the car.
Yeah, I think that's the important piece here is that they find this car that's been taken off the lot.
Right. The car that supposedly the guy got out of to shoot, not to kill Ray.
Yeah.
They track it down. Basically, it's from this movie.
Right.
And this movie production is wrapped up somehow in Vinci as well. Are they shooting in Vinci?
Well, Casper is invested in the film. Right?
Oh,
he's been spending money to become a producer on these films.
I see. Okay,
he wants in the scene,
right?
Because he partied with the director, who's this real dictatorial kind of.
I love the fact that he strategically drinks so much that he can't remember things. Like, I feel like that's his built-in alibi for everything. Like, he's a known drunk.
Right.
But he only does it so that he can always legitimately say, I do not recall.
Right.
On the stand.
Yeah.
I do not recall. I was blackout drunk.
Right.
That would be great if a senator used that defense.
Totally.
I'm sorry. I do not recall.
Yeah.
I was blacked out drunk.
So did you order people to Benghazi, as soon as you heard?
I do not recall.
Ms.
I was
Clinton,
blackout
Ms.
drunk.
Clinton, you couldn't have been.
That's great. That would be a great defense. I'm sure that would work well. If you
Totally.
Use that defense.
Well, yeah, so they regardless, they trace the car to this house where it's like a young guy who worked.
He seems real nice.
He seems real nice. He's just like, I worked.
So I believed him.
Yeah, so did I. I worked there on the movie shoot, and then I got injured.
I just got it. So he denies it.
Yeah.
And I was like, well, that's strange. Well, because they just 10 seconds later, something blows up. They go around the corner, and there's the Cadillac that's missing. Of course, he must have something to do with it. But that's not what they're planting it there. They planted the car there so that to try and trace the car back to the kid and throw suspicion on the kid who quit.
Okay.
I don't think the kid had anything to do with it.
Well, then why blow it up?
To get rid of the real evidence. There's probably blood evidence and DNA evidence.
If you're going to plant it on somebody, then you leave the evidence there.
But there's probably DNA evidence going back to the actual murder.
I thought you're going to shorten evidence to Ev.
Ev.
DNA Ev. So the car blows up. They run around
They chase the guy.
They chase the guy. He's wearing a white mask, from what I can tell.
Did you probably don't. I've been perusing Reddit with this now. So there's a big shot on Reddit where they claim that mask is in a shot at the movie set. It's in the background. It's a mask it's on the movie site.
Okay.
So it ties further. There's somebody
into
we needed that. Of course, somebody involved in the movie is somehow involved in the killing.
Yeah.
Like, we don't need that evidence to.
Right. Now, this is what
it's
I
a nice
love.
little Easter egg, I guess.
Sure. This is what I love, is that they chase this guy through, like, the Hooverville, through the hobo camps.
Right.
And I always love it in chases involving police. It's just how casual they are with other people's lives and property.
Right.
Because they're just knocking hobos over.
Well,
like there's open flames. There's like open fires everywhere. Something starts on fire at some point.
I think somebody runs through a fire, and the guy who's running away sort of tromps through a fire.
Right.
And that's what that happens.
I just think that the police, even though they're chasing a criminal, they should be a little bit more respectful of the people who are just innocent bystanders.
I guess so.
I mean, it's bad enough that these people live in a hobo camp. And now you're just like knocking over their.
See, I think that they do.
Somebody's got a rabbit on a spit, and you're ruining their dinner.
I see it differently. What they use these chases to show the moral difference between the perpetrator and the police. That the perpetrator is constantly crashing into things, knocking people over, and the police not as much. Like the police are running through.
They kind of try to not.
They try not to hurt people and tell people to get down and stuff. So there's usually there's not a moral equivalency.
Okay.
It's the perpetrator.
I want them to like go back when it's over though. This is the scene that I want to happen. Is that as soon as they either catch the person or the person gets away, I want to. The next scene is them going back through the hobo camp and then just being like, "Hey guys, real sorry. I'll find you a new rabbit. Let's get that burning barrel back upright.
Let's get your grocery cart full of junk.
Sure. Let's get all the junk
again.
back in it. Sorry about that."
Sure.
And they all have a good laugh. Wasn't that crazy?
I think
Wasn't that crazy when we were chasing that guy?
I think you just want better police. I think this is more a fantasy about real life and less about the movies.
Maybe so. So they don't get him. He gets away.
He gets away. Now, was she going to shoot him? I feel like in the last few months, one thing we have learned is that would be wrong.
Yes.
Her life is not in danger.
Right. He's running away.
She does not have the right to shoot someone who's running away.
Yeah. You don't even really know what's going on.
Right. You're not even. I mean, you're pretty sure he's the arsonist, but
sure.
And you're pretty sure he has something to do with a murder or an attempted murder of a cop.
Yeah. At most, he started a car on fire.
Well, we also, I think, would know that, if she shot him, she would not be prosecuted.
Right.
Either.
Yeah.
She would, she shot him. They drop a knife on, and claim that it was self-defense.
But this would have been a perfect opportunity for her to use one of her knives. I know she can throw them, and with accuracy.
Oh yeah.
Start throwing some knives.
Yeah. You're feeling a little lost because you want the knives in the story.
I just don't know why there's so much of them at top, and now I get no knife action.
One little moment that I appreciated in that scene is when Ray
saves her from
the thing.
Yeah.
He hurts. Like, they acknowledge, like, there's so many times in cop movies or cop dramas.
Somebody's been shot.
Hurt really badly, and they do something, and they don't even acknowledge that they've.
He was struggling the whole chase.
Yeah, he's struggling the whole chase. He's favoring an arm. When he knocks her over, he's clearly like, that hurt him really badly, and he doesn't even want to get up.
Yeah,
I like that little exchange. Where he's like, you want to thank me? Tell me what they know the state has on me, and she says, I don't know.
Yeah.
You can tell there's a certain amount of, now they've done something exciting together, and now they're starting to bond as partners, as true partners.
Right.
At the beginning of the episode, she berates him for not, I'm your partner.
Right.
Don't go somewhere without me.
Right.
And now at the end, I feel like they're actual partners. Maybe that's what the episode is about.
That's good thinking.
Yeah, the episode is about they are truly partners now. Mm-hmm. And there's a little bit of bonding also between Rachel McAdams, or Annie, and Paul as well. There's a little bonding between them, I think. So they're becoming a team, except for Dumpy Cop, who has this total other agenda.
Totally.
Anything else we want to talk about this? Oh, I know what I want to acknowledge some people who have who've emailed us.
Okay.
So let's see. There's Larry actually emailed us again after episode 3. So I feel like he's a stringer now. All right. He's an official stringer.
Yep.
Let me pull up his email. We may have to hold on. Here we go. So he sent us some observations from episode 3. First, he says, I was right about the shotgun and being a police thing because of... You put his theory together with your theory, and we nailed it. You nailed it. Mm-hmm. Nailed it. He says, I like Lieutenant Burris, Velcro's supervisor, as the shooter. Interesting.
Okay.
The guy with the white ears who beat Annie to the crime scene. He has the right build and the odd gait, and he strutted out of the crime scene, reminded me of the odd way the killer shuffled over to Velcro to deliver the second shot.
Oh, nice.
Interesting. All right.
Yeah.
Well, he also pushed hard for Velcro to pin it on a pimp, but then again, none of the higher-ups care about who really killed Casper.
Right.
So he has a point there. I mean, I don't think that's good evidence that it's the lieutenant.
Yeah.
I mean, it's interesting theory, but that specific thing to pin it on the pimp, they all want him to pin it on a pimp and just be done with it.
Right. I like this guy is doing this thinking because I'm not going to do it.
he can do this thinking for us.
Right.
I'm sure he would be happy to do that. Let's see. Point 3
of
4. Annie is asked to use her sexual charms to win over Velcoro. Annie asks Paul to use his charms to win over prostitutes, and she gives Paul a silent stare when the mayor's wife hits on Paul. Paul distracts the wife so Annie can search the house. So I guess she's asking Paul to kind of. Well,
right.
It's a little different though.
Very different.
I think it's sort of understood that when you are dealing with informants and suspects and so forth, you use whatever charm you have, and it's different than sort of convincing your partner that you'll sleep with them.
Right.
Which I don't really think that would help anyway.
No, I don't think Ray would be into it.
Ray's just not into sex right now. No. She would try to give him a blowjob, and he would hate it.
He'd absolutely hate it.
Because he's one of the men on the show. And then the dream sequence featuring the dad telling Velcoro he is running through a forest of giant trees being chased. This article by Vanity Fair talks about the Bohemian Grove, located in Northern California Redwood Territory, which is near where the good people Annie was raised. Oh yeah, I saw this article. This was from Reddit, and there's this thing called the Bohemian Grove. I don't know. Read that article by Vanity Fair, but I think it's an interesting connection between it.
Okay.
Do you know about this?
No.
So the Bohemian Grove is some sort of elite, weird cultish summer camp,
cool.
Where like people like Dick Nixon has been there, and it's been going for like 130 years, and they go out and do these weird satanic rituals, and it's probably just rich jerks, being idiots.
Yeah, just doing goofy black magic nonsense.
Right, doing Masonic rituals and whatever.
Right.
And but of course, it's also sort of wrapped up in a lot of conspiracy theories and so forth. And it's also something that I don't think has been penetrated very deeply by journalists. Anyway, so there's a Vanity Fair article drawing the drawing the sort of correlation between things that have been mentioned about in the show that point towards the Bohemian Grove as being connected to it.
I might get around to it, or I'll just rely on this gentleman to again do this work.
I think I'm going to try and put on the website his first email about the shotgun.
Oh, good thinking.
With the pictures.
Uh-huh.
So thanks for that, Larry. And then there's one other guy who left a comment. Great podcast. Listen to about 4 or 5 season 2 True Detective podcast. This is by far my favorite.
Oh my God.
Great analysis and deconstruction of the first episode.
Well,
he's going to be disappointed.
It's really going to start falling apart.
He's going to be disappointed.
Yeah.
That was Daniel Wright. Thank you for the feedback.
Yep.
We have our analysis is probably waning.
Yeah.
But hopefully more enjoyable experience. So.
Yeah.
We had a review on iTunes. One person reviewed us, and it said, great discussion about True Detective. We'll be tuning in each week to hear their take on the show. This is from OK Mike 87. Thanks.
Thanks, Mike.
5 stars.
Yeah.
There we go.
Do you think a majority of those stars came from me?
Do you think he likes you more than...
I think it's possible.
So maybe what he could do is create another login for iTunes.
Uh-huh.
Rate us again.
Yeah.
Be OK Mike 88.
Yeah.
And then clarify whether he likes Will better or whether he likes...
Or at least where are the majority of the stars coming from?
Oh, like divvy out the stars. Like 1 star for Kevin, 4 stars for Will.
Yeah. On a by-episode basis.
Yeah. That would be a good way for him to spend his time. Anything else you want to say about this episode? Have we covered everything?
I think so.
This is the longest... this is probably be our longest podcast so far.
I can't wait for more.
Yeah.
It's getting good. Now it's getting good.
Yeah. Well, it's interesting. I did really like it the second time I watched it. Okay. It was funny because I watched it last night and I was just kind of depressed.
Yeah.
It just didn't seem... It seemed... it's such a serious downer at times.
Right. Yeah.
But no, I'm enjoying it. I enjoyed it.
All right, good.
A couple things I want to plug right at the end. So if you want to find this, you can find this podcast on iTunes. You can also find it at listen.undertheguntheater.com. where we do all of our podcasts. This is our first podcast, but there'll be others that will be joining that website soon. You can email us at detectives@undertheguntheater.com.
Well, good job, Kevin.
Good job, Will.
Thank you.